Hello, hello to everyone who's logged in. We're going to give it a couple of minutes. I'll give it like a minute and then to see if anybody else is going to log in, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
All right, sounds like a plan to me. We need a little intro song. Where's the Zola theme song?
I know I was thinking about that, and then I was like, oh, I should have thought about that before today. So have some good intro music and have a good vibe going here.
Yes. Well, I brought my good vibe with me.
Yes, I would say we're going to have a good time either way. So, all right, let's see. Mhm. Okay, I think that has been a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So thank you for everyone who is logged in today and for everyone who might be logging in to watch the replay later. And so this is finding each other again, rebuilding emotional connection after baby. We are Zola Counseling Solutions, which is a mental health private practice. It's based in Silver Spring, Maryland, that services Washington D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, and also Puerto Rico. We primarily work with people who are going to therapy for the first time, or people who come from communities where therapy is not really the norm. And so we're super excited to start this webinar series that Samantha Kendall, which she'll introduce herself in just a moment, will be hosting. And so this is our first session in the webinar series. And so I will go ahead and let Samantha introduce herself.
Yes, hello, everyone. I am Samantha Kendall, a licensed graduate in marriage and family therapist in the state of Maryland. I really specialize in perinatal mental health and really enjoy supporting couples and rebuilding their connection, especially during life's transitions, especially during the perinatal period, of course. And I'll pass it to Aisha to introduce a little bit more about herself as well.
Awesome. And so my name is Asia Rodriguez. I'm the owner of Zola Counseling Solutions, also a licensed professional counselor, licensed in DC, Maryland, Virginia, and Puerto Rico. I primarily work with trauma survivors. So I started off with domestic violence, sexual assault survivors, but eventually transitioned more into working with childhood trauma survivors. And the Zola is my baby. And so I'm so thrilled to be here to be able to share our wealth of knowledge, because it's one thing to be able to help clients on one-to-one basis or in family therapy and couples therapy, but it's another thing when you're not necessarily in therapy yet, but wanting to still get those tools and resources you need to be able to thrive in your relationships. So happy that you're here and hope that you can take something away from today. Okay, so we'll go into the agenda.
Yes, yes. So first, we'll start off by setting our intentions for today, as well as leaning into focusing in on the reality after babies, things that have changed, as well as what connection looks like after baby. And then we'll go into new forms of intimacy and kind of revitalizing some of those things that may have not been the main focus once baby has come, as well as exploring the three building blocks of closeness. And then we'll do a practice together of a 5-minute activity. And then we'll pause and reflect on what we've learned. And then, of course, as connection grows in those small moments, we'll explore those a little bit deeper as well. So I welcome you here into this space. Transitioning to parenthood really brings so much joy alongside some really intense, profound challenges. You have the sleepless nights, the endless diaper changes, and those crazy blowouts. But then it's still beautiful things that live amongst that chaos, especially when it comes to caring for your tiny human. It really all transforms the relationship that you have with your partner, as well as the relationship you have with yourself. Today, we'll really refocus on rebuilding closeness between you as well as your partner through empathy, patience, and some of those small acts of love. As you listen today, I invite you to set intentions for your relationship just for this week. What do you want to nurture? What do you want to grow? And honestly, this hour is for you, not as parents, but as partners. So let's get into the reality after baby. What truly has occurred? When it comes to the physical toll, that sleep deprivation, you may not always feel like your best self. Those interrupted nights, and that can leave you emotionally depleted as well as physically depleted for our birthing person. And time scarcity becomes a thing. There is not enough time in the day to do all of the tasks. And let's talk about those identity changes. You may have gone from a romantic partner, but now you're parenting teammates. And you're no longer just lovers. You're co managers of that feeding schedule, of that diaper schedule, and those doctor's appointments, and really just together moving forward with this transition. And it's important to note that no matter if this is your first child, your second, your third, or your fourth, you haven't been parents to this exact baby at this exact time. It's important to note that up to 67% of couples actually report reduced relationship satisfaction in the first year. So, today's training and webinar really is to explore how to kind of bridge some of those gaps. There's also some additional layers to navigate. It might be your parenting roles and expectations. Maybe this stage of life, especially during this period, doesn't look exactly as you had both planned. Maybe we're off kilter on your birthing plan. Maybe there's limited access to resources, and we cannot mention birthing person's perinatal period without discussing systemic health disparities as well as financial stressors, honestly. Understanding these realities simply will help normalize this space, but also allow you to grant yourself and your partner grace. Now, connection looks a lot different. So, we've explored some of the challenges of the reality. But as the reality changes, so does connection. Before a baby, you may have had more spontaneity within your connection. Date nights might not have been scheduled. You might have went on late night walks or been able to stay up until whatever time, taking having pillow talk. And even intimacy might have not been on a schedule. You had that dedicated quality time as well as just the freedom to move within life the way in which you saw fit. Now, after baby, there's a delicate balance between teamwork and shared care while also managing your individual exhaustion and the sacrifices you both are making. After baby, you might also lean into quick check-ins between tasks or be missing each other as things go by. It's all truly about those stolen moments of connection, those little moments where you are able to see your partner for who they have grown into being and intentionally planning togetherness because this is a special time. It can be a stressful time, but you're doing it together. So let's get into new forms of intimacy. What does intimacy look like? What did it look like before? And what can it look like now that we have those realities? When you are exhausted and Sleep deprivation, have sleep deprivation, you might not be so focused on the intimacy within the relationship. But intimacy is not just physical touch. It's those moments where you really connect as partners and really as humans doing this journey together. So, eye contact in passing, just that knowing glance from across the room, whether it be once you get the baby down to sleep and whoever has won that battle that day, just giving them a look, that quick little nod saying, I see you, a small touch. So while many parents might be touched out, so it might just be that quick peck on the forehead, that brush as you wash bottles together. Maybe even just taking a moment to hold hands for a second. A reminder that you are not alone in this, that you have your partner right there with you. It can help reduce some of that overwhelm in those difficult moments, and get you back on track. It might be that little boost that you need throughout the day. Verbal affirmations. Now, we often talk about affirmations being something that is for yourself. When we talk about verbal affirmations, it might just be someone speaking to themselves in the mirror. But as partners and teammates in this journey of parenting, it's important that those verbal affirmations come from each other. Your internal voice, especially for first time parents, might be telling you you are not doing the best job. But it's important to remember to give yourself grace as well as your partner through this because it might be your first time. And again, like I said, it might be your first time with this child if you have multiples. So reminding each other that you got this, you're amazing as a parent, or I'm so happy that I'm doing this with you, or even I see how hard you're working. If you are someone who is working outside of the home and coming back into the home, these simple words, they carry weight. And my favorite, shared laughter. Everything is better with humor here with me. So, humor within the chaos when we have those diaper explosions, and even like the split cleaning shifts, just taking a moment to laugh, being able to, of course, you are holding life within your hands. And at the same time, you are holding your bond too, as well, the physical manifestation of that. So laughing together and just taking those moments to not be so serious. And of course, acts of service. We talk about it often as a love language, but it can be something that is a tangible support given to your partner. So whether it be making tea for your partner when you see that they are sleep deprived and having a tough day, or even doing the dishes. So one of the tangible tasks is out of the way, or even making a meal for your partner, rubbing those feet so we can get some of that physical touch, but also an act of service in there. And then spiritual connection, being able to pray together, set your intentions together, sharing gratitude and grounding together. At times when things might seem like those sleep deprived nights are endless, it might be important to just sit and refocus on what is true and what is important. And that is that you have a healthy baby, that you and your partner are on the same page and are doing your best together. These small acts of new forms of intimacy, it's not less love. It's really trying to just speak a new language of love, especially during this transition. So let's get into some building blocks. What are the three building blocks of closeness? Why are they important? Rebuilding connection after baby requires intentionality. These blocks can support and closeness, especially when things are most overwhelming. So, when it comes to closeness, ensuring that you're providing empathy, but not going straight into a solution for your partner. Hearing them out. How are they experiencing something? Sometimes you just want to be heard. So, taking a moment, sitting down your phone, making eye contact, and listening deeply. Listen with your heart. Listen for understanding before you jump into solutions. Allowing to not go into that problem solving space immediately allows you to really understand what your partner is experiencing and how they experience it. And then, if they're asking for solutions, asking for help, you can focus on that solution and work together to maybe create one. Having patience, something that is tested often throughout the parenting journey. It's a reminder that if this is your first child, that maybe you haven't done this before. You might have high standards for yourself and high expectations of what a good parent looks like, what a good partner looks like. But sometimes you got to get back to the basics, give yourself grace, and have patience that during this period, things might not look like what they were expected to be. And sometimes allow yourself to lean into those differences and allow yourself space to actually figure things out together. And then we get into some of those small gestures. The little things really do count most. So when energy is low and you can't do those big romantic gestures, and maybe that's not even top of mind, focus on the tiny acts. Ensuring that you are speaking loving to your partner just like you are speaking loving to that baby of yours. Letting them know that you see them, that you love them, and that you're happy that you are doing this together. Whether it be preparing a meal for each other or even just bringing water. And saying thank you can also be simple enough. These little tiny moments can really accumulate into lasting connection by just remembering each other for who you are truly and deeply, and the reasons why you joined into this journey together. So, here we've leaned in to the building blocks of connection as well as the important pieces about rebuilding that connection and sort of explored uh, what connection looked like pre-baby and how you can kind of incorporate some of those tiny moments post-baby. This 5 minute check-in is really a tangible practice that can be a tiny little piece, but it can really speak volumes and be profound. While you are probably taking moments to discuss that feeding schedule, taking some time to have 5 minutes to just be emotionally raw with each other around what you are experiencing can make all the difference. So take that quiet moment during nap time, after the baby goes to bed, or even during a feeding uh, can be sacred. So to start, partner A, you can choose whoever partner A will be. They'll go first. They'll list one thing that they need, as well as one thing that they are grateful for. You'll listen without giving advice, no problem solving, no defensiveness, and just hear them for what they say. Whether it be that they need 30 minutes to themselves tomorrow, they might need support with the morning routine, or even need support in handling bedtime that day or the next day. They can be as specific and as honest as possible. And don't worry, you'll get your time too. When it comes to one thing that they're grateful for, they might say they're grateful for you and you remembering them or remembering to pick up diapers before you came home, or grateful for how patient you were, or they might be grateful that they got the baby down in time to get a moment to themselves. As you listen, make eye contact, receive what your partner is sharing. This might be a moment to hold hands or offer a hug. No matter what you hear, stay open. When you switch roles, partner B will then be sharing their own need and their own point of gratitude. I always say equal time, equal presence. When you are listening, it is also an act of love, especially when you're listening to someone's heart and what they're truly experiencing. And then when you're sharing and you're being honest, that only can support in supporting those needs and ensuring that they get met. You might hear something that you weren't aware of. You might also hear something that you were aware of, but maybe have forgotten. And so just know during this 5 minute check in, you're getting that window of connection. You're getting those pieces that might be lost in the shuffle throughout the day to day. It's not just about creating that moment, but ensuring that you have like that emotional safety and communication. So let's pause and reflect a bit. Before we move forward, let's really take that moment to revisit, what does closeness look like for you now, for you and your partner? It might not be what it used to look like and what social media told you it should look like. What does your closeness look like in this specific season as the people that you are now, especially now that you're a parent? Think about, when do you feel most connected to your partner? Is it during the morning routine? Is it at night when you both go to sleep? Is it during the chaotic moments when they know the next step? Is it when they remember to get those diapers that you might have forgotten to put on the list? Or is it when you're working on a task together? Notice when connection happens naturally, when it doesn't have to be forced. And then also think of, what small gesture could you offer this week? Be specific. Not be a better partner, but let's think about, make them that cup of tea, or let's make them that coffee today. Or even, let me make sure that while I'm at work, I send that text during my lunch break to ensure that they know that I do see them, that I do see all of what they put in and all that they do. Sharing that small piece of gratitude. It doesn't have to always be face to face, but that might be a little bit more long lasting, but ensuring that it is said and that is something that you truly feel. And of course, you don't have to have all the answers to each of these questions. You can take time to ponder them after our webinar today, but keep them in mind and close to your heart throughout the week. And it's true. Connection does grow within those small moments. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing truly is. So ensure that you are taking the time, even in the messiness, even in those imperfect moments, especially those, to connect, whether it be that knowing glance, that quick peck, that space of gratitude, ensuring that you are being intentional is really the space to stay in. And it might also be sharing your fears, sharing your worries, or even checking in to see if they have a solution to a challenge you've been experiencing as you navigate this journey together. And remember to practice empathy. These aren't one time exercises, it's really a daily practice. And you're not going to be perfect each day. You might forget to say thank you. But remembering that even in those imperfect moments, to circle back. Maybe it was something at the end of the week that you ponder upon and say, whoa, couldn't remember. I didn't even know that we could get through such a challenge. Sharing those aha moments together, sharing that laugh, or even sharing those difficult challenges. Maybe you're wrestling to get the baby to bed and you are just taking that moment to get that quick tip. What was it that your partner did that helped? Some days definitely might be easier than others, and that's okay. And as you complete the 5 minute check in to notice if and how things do shift within your home when you do move with more intentionality around the building blocks of closeness. Pay attention to even the subtle changes. Does it feel lighter? Do you argue less? Are needs being met? Are you smiling more? And definitely, are you laughing more? These might be smaller acts that amount to larger, a larger impact. And as you complete that 5 minute check in, try to do it at least 3 times this week. Start small and notice what shifts when you make that space to truly hear each other. And even notice when it's challenging. Maybe it's a point where you feel nervous about sharing what you need. And maybe even take some time to think about it beforehand before your check-ins. Examine, where does that fear come from? Is it a worry about not showing up as the perfect parent? Is it worry about not showing up as the perfect partner? And remember, they don't need perfection. No one does. They just need you to be there in it with them. Yes. We're moving into thriving as parents. Really does start with thriving as partners.
Sorry, I moved the slide. Let me put it back in focus here.
Oh, no problem. I want to thank you all for really taking the time to connect with us today. If you do want more of this, feel free to connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, as well as LinkedIn. And visit our website to look at our blog and check those out as well. This webinar was really born out of um, my exploration of self compassion when it comes to supporting my clients that were birthing persons. And what I'm really proud of is being able to then now connect those blogs into supporting those birthing persons into reconnecting with their partners. So feel free to check out our website and join us for our next webinar. It'll be on reconnecting when it comes to communication.
And then I wanted to make sure we left a little time. If anyone in the audience had any questions, you could drop it in the Q&A. We'll give it about 30 seconds or so. And you can, if you have a question that Samantha or I could answer, let us know. But thank you so much for being here. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for catching the replay. And I hope that you register for our next webinar, which will be November 12th, like Samantha mentioned, which will be the second one in our series here. We hope to have many more in the series. This was so great, Samantha. So thanks for sharing your wealth of knowledge.
Yes,
Let me,
yes.
yeah, let me just
Thanks
double
for
check.
providing the space and thank you all for attending.
Of course. All right. So it looks like there's nothing in the Q&A. And so yeah, we will end here. And then like I said, if you want to watch it later, again too, you can watch it on the replay using the same link for the where the webinar is. It'll have the replay now. All right. Have a good night.
All righty, thank you.